Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. We are doing LinkedIn Live, as always, Tuesday, 11 a.m. Eastern. This time we are very excited to have Alex McEachern join us from Repeat. And so we're going to have him tell us all about Repeat, but also talk about retention strategies in general. So if you're a direct consumer brand who wants to retain your customers, there's not many more people qualified to talk about this than Alex. He's been in the industry a while, and we'll just get it going with that. So, Alex, we generally like to keep this short, 10 minutes, 15 minutes max, and we are the definition of live here. So I know you just had a baby. I have two babies in the other room. Nicole has some slightly older babies.
And a puppy.
So there's a lot of stuff going on here, but yeah, feel free to bring them in, and we'll see them as they come in. But for now, tell us a little bit about Repeat, and would love to hear some of the crazy stories around retention. What have you seen that people have tried that has worked? What have you seen people have tried that hasn't worked? But we can break that down and just start from the beginning.
Cool. Well, first of all, that was a hell of an introduction. Thank you. Yeah, let's start with Repeat. Repeat's the buy again button for CPG brands or consumer packaged goods. So those everyday items, food, beverage, skincare, cosmetic. And essentially what we're trying to do is make reordering easier. So if you think about the things that you might not want to put on subscription or aren't ready to subscribe to, you still want to be able to reorder them, to consume them, maybe weekly, monthly. So we basically built a cart where you can send your traffic to, returning customers to as a conversion point. And that is rooted in their historical purchase information. So it has everything they've bought in the past preloaded in there. If they're in their reorder window, it'll actually pre-populate the cart so they can just go to checkout. So we look at it as the conversion point for a returning customer. And I like to look at it as retention's not about pushing people to subscribing. Retention's about getting one more purchase, like N+1. And if we focus our efforts on getting that next purchase instead of just trying to push someone to subscription, it drastically changes how we approach retention.
Have you seen folks? So if they actually subscribe, right? Because there's this like, okay, if they actually subscribe, they may stay on 1 or 2 months, forget about something, but then stuff is coming too fast, and then they actually like stop, and then that's the end of their journey. Whereas now you're talking about like, hey, like I might need this every week, and I know I need it every week, but maybe I don't need it every week. It's every week and a half, and it's hard to find that right subscription point. Is that one of the pain points that you see?
100%. And I love that you went to that one first, because when we talk about subscribers, when we talk about retention, there's the emotional component of it, and there's the logical like data component of it. And when we look at it from the brand perspective, we tend to look there. But when we look at it from that side, the experience emotional side, we start thinking about it like a customer. And like me personally, I'm not subscribed to any physical product. And the reason I'm not subscribed to any physical product is exactly what you said. I feel like if I'm on it, maybe I'm on a coffee subscription, I open up my cupboard and all of a sudden beans are just falling out of the cupboard on top of me because I have so many, I can't use it fast enough. Mm-hmm. And then maybe on like the flip side is like, I'm sitting on the toilet and I realize I don't have any toilet paper and I have that on subscription. Now I have the opposite problem. Like it's not here frequent enough. So it can happen on both sides, right? And I think that's the biggest piece is everyone consumes differently. It's really hard to build something that's going to be perfect for everyone. Maybe vitamins or like some sort of supplement, it's a little easier to do that. But even
you're taking one a day exactly, and it's like hazardous to your health if you take more, and if you can't miss it. Yeah,
exactly. That's one of the biggest pain points that we're trying to solve. Also, too, there's just a big chunk of people out there that aren't comfortable subscribing. Like I think I did a LinkedIn poll. It was a couple months ago. We had like almost 500 people respond. I was like, "Oh, when are you okay subscribing to something?" And I think like 60% of the people said never. Like I just not going to subscribe.
Wow.
That's super
That's a little scary then when you're trying to build your business around just a subscription only model, right? If that's like your primary thing is saying, hey, like we want people to subscribe only. That's why I love. So, okay, I actually can jump in here as a customer. So I actually today got my Repeat SMS through iWan.
Nice.
Yeah, so I order iWan and I get my SMS message and I don't subscribe, but I actually do like the reminder. It's friendly. It's a friendly message. And sometimes I don't click the link and order right away, but it does give me that, oh yeah, I better check my snack cupboard and see where I'm at with it, because actually it does depend. Sometimes I kill the snacks and our kids eat them too. And then sometimes we might have a few left over. So I can wait like an extra week. And that's great. And more importantly, it allows me, I did go into it actually gave me a little coupon too, which was kind of cool. But it brought up, okay, well, there were certain things that are out of stock, but it gave me some suggestions on other things. So I was like, oh, what do I feel like right now? So it's like, I don't have to subscribe to the same thing, but I can say, what do I feel like for the next like couple weeks? So anyway, I have used Repeat, and just this morning actually to replenish my order with iWan.
Love it. I got an email this morning from Ouroboros telling me that I should be reordering my variety pack, and it went to the repeat cart. And I was like, perfect. Like we're going to make it easy to reorder here. And what you just talked about there, like things being out of stock, you might not want the same thing. That's something that I've been hitting on a lot lately, is like this idea of replenishing versus reordering.
Mm.
When you want the same thing over and over and over again, like that's replenishing it. I want that same product over and over. And then that's when subscription might work. But Nicole, in your example there, it's like, I want to try something different. I love the brand, but I want to be rotating what products I want. That's what reordering is all about. It's like, I love the brand, but I don't necessarily want that exact same product every single time. I'm going to reorder. I'm not going to replenish.
Super interesting. Super interesting. So yeah. And so it gets you that, okay, week and a half instead of whatever. But if you click, when you do click that message, Nicole, it'll take you to the repeat cart, and it'll be super, super simple to just click and reorder. So zooming out a little bit, and I've seen the LinkedIn polls that you do, Alex, and love all the content that you put out. What's the most interesting, funniest, craziest retention strategy that you've seen outside of repeat or loop or anything like that? What have you seen that was crazy or funny that people have tried to retain customers, and how'd it work?
Funny as in like, I think it's wrong, or funny as in like, haha, that's hilarious?
I mean, could it be one and the same? Probably, but
probably
up to you.
Here's the thing: is like, in terms of retention, people like to look at. If we think about acquisition and retention, I promise I'm going to get to answering your question in a second here. But when we think about like acquisition versus retention, people talk about retention as this like tactic. But if we said the same thing on the other side and we're like, oh, I'm focused on acquisition, everyone would be like, okay, so like what? Are you like, is it paid social? Is it search? Like what are you doing? So on the retention side, I think like that's actually the funniest thing, is when people are just saying like, oh, we're focused on retention. Okay, what are you going to do? Yeah, we're doing retention. Okay, but like what's the tactic of it, right? So I think a lot of people just assume that retention is like post-purchase flows. Like, hey, I'm going to try to hit you up at the exact right moment to get you to come back and buy something. But the things like, so I find that funny. In terms of what's working and what I like to see on the retention side is like when people know it's about more than that. It's about product. It's about brand. It's about all these other things working together. So I like to look at things like Dream Pops as an example. Like their brand is built around this like weird geometric shape of what these like what the ice cream looks like, and people are drawn to that, and they like build an entire brand around just like product form. You look at something like Blue Man, they do men's hairstyling products, and like all they're doing is really tutorials on how to achieve different hairstyles, and they built this retention strategy around content. Someone like Midday Squares, they have like this reality TV show basically happening on Instagram, and like there's another way to build retention on social. So I don't know, I think we like to look at retention as this thing where we treat it the same as acquisition. It's like dollar in, dollar out. I want to be able to measure everything. And I think the reality is when people think about it that way, that's when to me it ends up looking funny, because I'm like, that's not how people buy again. That's not how you create loyalty. That's not how you get people to care.
Yeah.
I love that. And I know we have to talk about this before we get off, but I would love to chat with you in terms of retention strategies and bringing in the conversation regarding social impact and giving back. And what are your thoughts around that? And, brands that might be doing it well, and, kind of what's next. Would love your thoughts.
Yeah. listen, there's no one retention strategy that's going to work for everyone. And that's kind of my big thing. I call it the retention matrix. Is think about your purchase frequency, your item value. That's going to determine where you can start to build some of those strategies up. So product, I think, is the most overlooked retention strategy out there. People might be like, I sell grand pianos. I can't possibly have a retention strategy. People are buying these every 10 years. Well, maybe you can pivot what you're selling and sell key cleaners, replacement strings, replacement keys, like start to change your product catalog to actually be more retention oriented. So that's like my personal favorite thing. In terms of the social impact side of things, like I talked about, you might be able to hear the dog, live TV.
Sorry.
In terms of like the social impact side of things, is like there's something you can brand around. There's something that you can build a following and a community around. It's like, hey, we're supporting this particular cause. And like being able to build up around that, like that's what draws people in and builds a sense of community, is when you're able to do something that's about more than just the product. And we talked about before, it's not about just like, how do I line up your next purchase? It's how do I build something bigger here for people to be a part of? That's what builds true retention.
Yeah, that getting the community involved is something that we see over and over again, right? So like the social impact piece 1.0 was, hey, here are the causes, or the cause, really the one charity that we support, and everybody get behind us because we care about this one charity. And I think that was cause marketing 1.0. And I think we're seeing on the Givz side of things, cause marketing 2.0, or really social impact 2.0, is genuinely and authentically telling your customers, we care about what you care about. And so you can actually choose where this money goes. Here are the charities that we care about. And maybe it's not just one charity, but here's 3 different charities that are pillars of our business that we care about, supporting each pillar of our business. But at the end of the day, we care about you, and we want you to be in the fold here. And so you're going to get money to give to a charity of your choice. And that's the way that we can do it. So eventually, we'll have, just like Nicole got a coupon with her message this morning that would then take her to a very easy repeat checkout experience. We could easily see that be a donation incentive sometime in the future, where it's like, hey, we know that you supported an environmental cause when you purchased with us the first time. We would love to see you. It's probably time that your snacks are running out, but if you want to purchase again and support another environmental cause, we're here to help you do that. And so again, just like you may or may not need the item right this second, you may or may not want to support the same exact cause. You may want to switch it up, buy some new snacks, support a different cause. So that's what we're excited about on this side. But would love to your thoughts there.
I'm all about customer agency, right? It's like, how do you let people choose the path that's going to get them to whatever they want to do? I don't want the same item over and over again. I want more agency over what I'm ordering. I don't want this to come on the same day every single day. I want it to come when I want it. I don't want to support I don't want to support your cause. I want to support my cause. Or like if there's a list, like being on the list side of things, I love if it's like, oh, this one's actually closer to home. Like this is a California project, and like this is where that's where I live. I want to be able to send it to that. So I think like Andrew, we've talked about this a couple of times. It's like there's people who are focused on the retention side of the equation out there in the Shopify world and the e-commerce world, and it all ties so closely together. There's that retention stack. There's the tactic, the tools that you're going to use to build that. And at the end of the day, it's all about customer agency, and it's about building that community. Full stop for me.
I feel like we could do an entire conversation on just customer agency and also just as we consult and have strategic conversation with brands around, it's difficult. Like it's a hard to give that over is a difficult conversation to say, hey, like actually, but what we see, believe it or not, is when you give the agency to the customer, is that they love your brand and they actually align with your causes, believe it or not. And you're going to see that. But because you gave them the choice, now you've truly deepened your relationship with them and have invited them into your giving mission. And that's entirely different than just saying, hey, like this is our cause, which is great, by the way. But this is like next level, more personalized purpose. So I agree with you. And long.
Aggressive agree, as I like to say.
Awesome.
Love that. I think this is a good spot to cut it just under the 15-minute mark here. Thanks everybody for sticking with us. If you want to get on Repeat, you can go to getrepeat.io and check them out. And obviously we're at Givz.com, but you can DM any of us and we'll answer. That's actually how Alex and I first met, I believe, on LinkedIn. So
LinkedIn, great place.
Great spot. So hit us up there. Definitely make sure you're following Alex as well, because he puts out great content, and it's always super interesting and helpful. And just great conversation. Love to follow up with you in the near future here, Alex. Great to have you on.
100%. Let's do it. And thanks for having me.
Cool. Thanks, Alex.